going to go ahead and start our city council meeting. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye, or here, excuse me.
Alderman Bolton.
Present.
Alderman Seeger.
Present.
Alderman Mosio. Alderman Kirkwood.
Present.
Alderman Newsome.
Present.
Alderman Turner.
Present.
Alderman Rivera.
Present.
Alderman Florian.
Present.
Mayor Taylor.
Present.
You have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll have the invocation by Pastor Tim Hung from Wesley Free Methodist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Pastor, for doing this.
Thank you for the opportunity. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we pray for the city of Waukegan today, that you would be merciful to the people of this place. We pray a blessing for our government leaders here, the mayor, chief of staff, aldermen and alderwomen, and all the governing officials, that they would be the good civil servants that you have appointed them to be. May our government leaders be helped from the grace of the kingdom of heaven to exercise justice with wisdom, to listen well with humble hearts, and to love their neighbors as they love themselves. May you, God Most High, bless the people of Waukegan with your peace that surpasses all understanding, as we cast all our worries, anxieties, and complaints upon you, for it is in God we trust. We pray for the civil servants and people of Waukegan to have a faith that works itself out in love, and for us all here in this place to humbly serve one another in love. We pray that your spirit of holiness, which is true wholeness and health, would bring unity to the government, businesses, and houses of worship, to work together for the common good, to love one another as you have loved us, and to have peace here in this land. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And I want to welcome everyone to the August 1st. It's August already. Summer's passing away here. Waukegan City Council meeting. In an effort to ensure transparency, I want to make sure that everybody knows that our agendas are placed on our website the Friday before our bi-weekly meetings. And you can go to our city website at waukeganil.gov for the meeting agendas and the most important information on your city government. Everything that you need to know about our city can be found on our website. Sometimes it's a little difficult. If you have a hard time, please feel free to call us, but everything is usually contained right there on the website. I want to talk tonight a little bit about things going on in our city. The first one is violence. It's difficult for me. As a mother, a grandmother, and a lifelong Waukegan resident, but most importantly as your mayor, I'm disturbed, saddened, and really, really frustrated and disappointed in the violence that's taken place in Waukegan and in North Chicago and in other parts of Lake County. This seems to be a national trend, but not acceptable to any of us. Acts of violence, like these recent shootings, can't be tolerated. They create a civil unrest, but we shouldn't grow numb about them either. Sometimes we hear about them and we just, oh, another shooting. That's not what I want for our community. When we have these incidents, they have a ripple effect through the community. For some, it tears families apart. For others, it creates such a fear that it's paralyzing. I want you to know that along with the Waukegan Police Department and your aldermen up here, are taking every measure we possibly can to be proactive about crime in our community. Some of the things we've done, but not limited to, is community policing is back. You probably saw a couple of weeks ago, we voted to put cameras back in our community. And we will continue to work whatever we need to do to make sure that our community is feeling safe. Looking out in the audience, I know many of you want to talk about this tonight because it's fearful. It's not something that any of us thought that we would be here to address. But one of the things I want us to do is let's start working as a community. Let's get legislation moving. Let's make sure our state's attorney knows what we want. But most importantly, let's work together. That means we need your help. When you see something, please say something to us. One of the biggest problems we have is that we need information to come to our police department. So again, this is a community effort, and I'm asking us to work in partnership with each other, because that's what makes our community safe. With that said, I'm going to have our police chief, Zupek, come up and talk to you about violence in our city. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Going to talk about a few topics here tonight. First off, going to address some of the gun violence and gun crime that many residents in our community are concerned about. I've provided these stats the last several times that I've been here, and I'm going to provide them again as well. It's a benchmark that the police department use. It's not an all-encompassing explanation of gun crime in our community, but it is a benchmark for us to analyze some of these numbers. I'm going to give you some stats, and I will provide, there will be copies of these stats on the back table after I'm done speaking up here today. There's concern that possibly some of our numbers were misled, and they're not. I'm going to provide hard copy numbers for anybody that wants a copy of these numbers. Shots fired incidents in the city of Waukegan from January 1st till yesterday. For 2022, we've had 413 incidents. In 2021, from the exact same period, we've had 384. January 1st till yesterday of 2017, we were only at 180. Obviously, you can tell our numbers are higher than they were last year, and we're more than double than where we were 5 years ago. Individuals that have been struck by gunfire in the city of Waukegan. This year, from January 1st until yesterday, we've had 44 individuals shot on 37 separate incidents. This time last year, we had 35 individuals shot in 35 incidents. So this year, we've had multiple incidents where we've had multiple victims shot. Homicides for the year, we are currently at 5. This time last year, we were at 5. And 5 years ago, we were at 4. Obviously, the mayor indicated that the police department is taking a proactive approach to this. We're attacking this concern from a multitude of angles. We are. I'm not going to go into detail on everything that the police department does, but we obviously know my community crimes division is an important division in fighting this battle for the incidents that are occurring inside of the city. So this year, January 1st until yesterday, for 2022, we've seized 169 firearms. Last year, from January 1st to 2021, we seized 111. And 5 years ago, we were at 69 firearms. So the police department is proactively out there getting it, trying to prevent these shots fired and this violent crime, this gun crime, which again, we are not an outlier in the city of Waukegan, though there's not an excuse that we do not want to attack this problem and subside this problem in our community, but this is going on across the country, unfortunately. Of the illegal firearms that have been seized by the Waukegan Police Department, about 65% of those, approximately 65%, have been seized on traffic stops. Proactively engaging, making traffic stops, and recovering illegal firearms. Listen, there's a multitude of reasons why crime has increased in our city and other cities across this country. The experts, and I don't not necessarily considering myself to be one of those leading experts to study and understand that, but we do know that from the first year of 2020 when COVID hit, that law enforcement was not making traffic stops for well over a year. Why? We were trying to subside the spread of a disease that we weren't sure about, so law enforcement across this country stopped making traffic stops. We stopped making traffic stops, and it empowered people to move around with illegal firearms. It empowered people to drive inappropriately and recklessly. We all know that the traffic issues have been a concern over the last couple of years. So it'll take some time, probably to reverse that. You know, it's as I explained to some of the aldermen before, it's the police omnipresence that exists, right? Those that choose to move around in our community with illegal firearms and use illegal firearms, it's that presence of, I'm concerned, could I get stopped by a law enforcement officer at some point in time? That omnipresence has obviously subsided substantially over the last couple years. So we need that to come up. We need that to rise. We need people to not want to drive around with firearms in their cars and shoot rounds off into neighborhoods or run into somebody else at a gas station and two of them have, two different cars have firearms and they exchange gunfire. We need that police omnipresence to rise. So I assure you, your Waukegan Police Department will continue to attack this. I will be back to report any stats that I can to show some improvement in this area. Again, the numbers are high for gun crime in the community. And also, unfortunately, the numbers are high on the amount of illegal guns that we've taken off the streets so far this year. Just a couple other things to address. I know a couple weeks ago there was a social media post that caused a lot of stir in this community for a lot of our residents and a lot of our businesses. The Waukegan Police Department, you know, social media is, you know, freedom of speech, our First Amendment rights. People can put whatever they want on, for the most part, they can put whatever they want on Facebook. That's understandable. The police department will do what it can to vet that information, as we always do. The situation from 2 weeks ago, I cannot confirm nor can I deny the information that was posted on Facebook, which is why the police department did not put any information out about that post that was out there. One, I'm not going to tell people not to pay attention to a post that's on there because we don't know if it's an accurate post, but we also could not confirm that as well. We use social media at the police department. We use it to provide information. We also mine it quite well. We mine it for intelligence. There isn't anybody who doesn't know that, to include those that actively try to participate in crime. They're smart. They understand that law enforcement mines social media. That's what we do, and we will continue to do that. Another thing I would like to discuss tonight is at the last city council meeting, a community member called out a Waukegan police officer for doing something inappropriate. And I don't want anybody to be confused about this, about what I'm about to say. I have zero issues with members of our community coming to a city council meeting and speaking before this board or this council about a problem that they have with the police department. I welcome that. I do. My responsibility, my command staff's responsibility is to hold our people accountable. I always tell the command staff that you are the first set of eyes for the public inside of our building. That is what the command staff is supposed to do. So if people choose to come here to explain issues that they have with the police department, no problem. I will listen, I will assist, I will help. Obviously, I think everybody knows there are processes that we have in place to file complaints in our police department. You can file a complaint online. You can file an anonymous complaint online. You can file a complaint in person at the police department. When you do that, the command officer or supervisor that takes that complaint records the entire encounter. We don't want to put any words into somebody who has a concern about something that happened with a police officer. We're going to take that complaint and we will investigate it. And then ultimately, those that want to come to the council floor and explain about an issue they had, I have no problem with that as well. I assure you, when someone comes here to complain about something, I am going to make sure that it gets looked into. However, what is important to understand is that when we stand before here and we call out an individual officer for doing something wrong, it is my responsibility then to stand here and talk to the council if that officer has done nothing wrong, because that officer was called out by name. And I know this, as I just indicated about complaints about police. We are not without fault. We are not perfect. We don't do everything right. I stood before you 4 months ago about an incident, and I explained that the police department did not handle a situation appropriately. However, the officer that was called out by name at the last city council meeting did absolutely nothing wrong. That officer conducted a professional, courteous, respectful, and some might even say fair traffic stop. He did not violate the law. He did not violate policy. It was almost a model traffic stop on what we would ask of our officers. So I have zero issues when complaints are brought about my department before this council. But when a complaint is brought and an officer is called out by name and they have done nothing wrong, I will stand here to defend them. They deserve that. Two last things to talk about. And again, I thank you for your time. As you all know, the Waukegan Police Department was accepting applications from the end of June to the middle of January. We did not draw the expected numbers that we were hoping. I will be having a meeting with the Waukegan Civil Service Board, Police and Fire Board, Civil Service Commission within the next week. I'm going to ask them to go back out for applications probably September 1. We have academy spots coming up in December and January. I need to make sure that we are filling our spots. And basically what I'm here to ask is I'm here to ask the council and I'm ask the community members that all of you know somebody who is probably fit or possibly well-intentioned who would make a wonderful officer for the Waukegan Police Department. I've heard for many years that our police department should represent the community that it serves. I do not disagree with that statement at all. I am encouraging everyone, the members of this community, the council, when we come out with these applications, I will provide the information. It will be a QR code. It's to take you to the application. It's not a difficult process to find good people from Waukegan to come out to be Waukegan police officers. That's what we need. We need good people, and we need good Waukegan people. So I'm asking everyone's help in this council, in this community, those that are watching it from afar. We need help to get good qualified police officers here. Please send them our way. I'll have more information on that as the time gets near. Lastly, I think the mayor may speak on this. However, I'd like to talk on it for just a second. This Friday, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., the Waukegan Police Department and the Waukegan Park District are conducting their annual Touch a Truck event, which we have not done in a few years. This is our national night out for the police department. It's a great event. It's a community event. We ask everyone to come out, bring your kids. They get to see some cool and neat little trucks that they can jump up in, get up in the driver's seat, take pictures, whatever they want. We're going to have lots of engaging activities. There's going to be a dunk tank. There's going to be lots of things for the community to do. And we think that every year this has been an outstanding event, and we're asking folks to come out to this again. Friday night, down at the lakefront, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., and then the Park District, after the event, will be showing a movie at the Steiner Pavilion, which is awesome for the kids. So come on out. It's going to be a great event Friday night. On Friday. This Friday, the 6th. 5th. I'm sorry, the 5th, not the 6th. This Friday, 5 to 8. Mayor, thank you much for your time. Council, thank you for your time. Members of the community, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. I also want to mention quickly that, you know, our police officers have had a very trying time after COVID. As many of you may know, that we are in the middle of a mental health crisis, and our domestic violence cases are up. So, again, it's very challenging. I know it's challenging for people to want to go into the police force, but we need you. We need you desperately. Now I'm going to talk about a subject that's uncomfortable for many of us. As many of you are aware, we were disappointed to learn of a very serious felony criminal charges pressed by prosecutors against Alderman Kirkwood. Many of you have reached out to me wanting to know, hey, I want you to appoint me to that position. I want to make it perfectly clear that as of right now, Alderman Kirkwood remains the alderman for Waukegan's 4th Ward. And unless he resigns or is convicted of a felony, he is the 4th Ward alderman. And as always, he's presumed innocent until proven guilty. So I hope that puts to rest people calling me about me appointing people, because that's not going to happen. Unfortunately for the residents of the 4th Ward and for the city at large, this is a distraction. And I hope that during this difficult time that Alderman Kirkwood is able to put his constituents first, but it's a challenging time for all of us up here. But like I said, Alderman Kirkwood is still an alderman and will be, okay? Micro-enterprise loans. I'm going to have Director Garland come up and talk about that, but micro-enterprise loans are ones that we are designing right now. We're coming up with a new program, and it's for businesses of 5 or less. Why is this important? Is that many small companies need a start. And they start off with 1 or 2 people, and it's very hard for them to get financing. So, Director Garland, you want to take it from here?
Sure. So we have available to the community, we have a special allocation of CDBG funds totaling around the amount of $250,000 to prevent, prepare for, and respond to the COVID pandemic for for-profit businesses with 5 or fewer employees. That includes the owner. This is to be used to aid for the stabilization of businesses who had hardship with COVID, brick and mortar businesses, as well as home-based businesses who had issues with COVID. We will pay for the following things are covered with the program. So we will cover utilities and rent, lease expenses, payroll, so if you need to hire new employees or to retain to support your business. We're gonna, if you need to get new items or to restock your inventory, your product line, we're going to replace outdated equipment for newer models for your business. If you need to increase technology or to put technology into your business, how everything is changed with technology and upgrades, and then any costs related to the safety of your environment, so training and supplies like professional cleaning for COVID, those types of things would be covered with those funds. The owner must have a score of 500 or above. You can't have any liens against you for anything. The owner and or the people that they employ must qualify or fall within the low to moderate income thresholds requirement. The business, of course, has to have 5 or fewer, which we said before, has to be located in the city of Waukegan, and they have to have a DUNS number, and they need to register for SAMS, which is it's a federal system that you have to apply your business through. So those are some of the requirements required for that program. So if you're interested and you feel like your business qualifies, please reach out to my department. That's CDBG. We're located on the 3rd floor. The number is 847-599-2530. If you have any questions, also the information is also located online under Block Grant. And you go there, it'll have a micro enterprise small business loan program. The grant amount is, the total amount available per person is $25,000. $10,000 of that would be a loan, 15% of that would be a grant, and that would be forgiven. You have to pay back the $10,000. It's a 5-year, 0% interest loan, and those would be the requirements.
Thank you, Director Garland. For more information, you can also go to tiny, Tiny, capital URL.com/Waukegan Small Business. That's sometimes the easiest way to find it on our website. Some general comments. I want to thank WTTW Chicago Tonight for featuring Waukegan in their In Your Neighborhood segment last week. It's my job as your mayor to be a cheerleader for the city, and this is one of my favorite things to do, and I was pleased to discuss the city for the show. It puts a spotlight on our city, and I'm very proud of our city, as you know, so is an important event to happen. Lake County State's Attorney Eric Reinhardt will host a town hall meeting this week on Thursday about how we can address the unfortunate increase in gun violence in Lake County. Law enforcement leaders from throughout the county, including our Chief Zupek, will be present. I look forward to listening to our residents and law enforcement partner solutions. I hope to see you all there at 6 p.m. at the Greenbelt Cultural Center in North Chicago. Also, Chief Zupek will be talking tomorrow morning at 7:15 a.m. for Wake Up Waukegan, if any of you are interested in going to that. Police Chief also just talked about the National Night Out, which we have not had in a while. I know the kids love this touch-a-truck idea. It's just so much fun to watch these little ones on these big vehicles. And that's from 5 to 8 this Friday night, and again, followed by the movie afterwards. The city has received a couple of awards that I want to point out. The first one was the Certificate of Achievement in Financial Reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association. So I want to congratulate and thank our Finance Director, Don Schultz. Would you like to stand up, Don? Yeah, Don. And our Associate, Also, our Water Department won the Project of the Year Award from the American Public Works Association, the Chicago Metro chapter. Congratulations to Director Antonio Dominguez and the entire Waukegan Water Department. Come on, Antonio, stand up. The Genesee Theater is now starting their full fall and winter packed with great acts. The summer is going to come out with a bang with Pat Benatar this Thursday, so go ahead and see a good show in our historic theater. You can find the schedule on GeneseeTheater.com. The Waukegan Band has extended its summer concert series an additional week. There will be one additional show to include the Milwaukee Festival Brass on August 16th. The free concerts take place at 7:30 every Tuesday. I see many of you there at the Steiner Pavilion. Bring your chairs, picnic, and just enjoy the music. And honestly, we've had great weather. It's a fun evening. Saturday, August 20th will be the amazing day for fans of the Ray Bradbury and our local art scene. The Dandelion Wine Fine Arts Festival will be back at Bowen Park from noon until 4 p.m. Then starting at 5, the monthly Downtown Art Walk will start, and the Waukegan Park District Literary Walk, stopping at a number of Ray's favorite places with surprises at each. Lastly, we're going to talk about back to school. Believe it or not, August, I believe it's the 11th, the school is, District 60 is starting back. So again, make sure that you're watching for children. The buses will be out. Please do not run the stop signs of the buses. I'm begging you to slow down. We know we have constant speeders in this city. We need you to be aware. These are our children in our community, so please watch out for them. We always take care of our children. That's a strong community. So I'm asking you to please take this seriously. That's all the comments I have. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 resolutions and a proclamation. So I will go ahead with Resolution 22R-120, honoring the life of Waddell Brooks Sr. Whereas Waddell Brooks Sr. was born in Lexington, Mississippi, and whereas Waddell Brooks Sr. was the first black student to graduate from East St. Louis Senior High School, a centennial graduate of Illinois State University Normal, receiving a Bachelor of Science in Business Education, later receiving 2 honorary doctorate degrees from Faith Grant College. And whereas Waddell Brooks Sr. accepted Christ as his personal Savior at the Southern Mission Baptist Church in East St. Louis, Illinois at 13, and whereas Waddell Brooks Sr. accepted his first position in federal civil service at the VA Medical Center as an educational therapist, physical medicine and rehabilitation service in charge of commercial studies, and retired after 35 years of federal civil service, including 2 years of military service and 16 months in Korea, receiving the Korean Service Medal. And whereas Waddell Brooks Sr. initiated a business in the human service field, and later he and his wife realized the fulfillment of a dream of a daycare, infant, and a group home for girls. And whereas Waddell Brooks Sr. hosted NAACP Focus, a weekly radio talk show on WKRS AM 1220, and a weekly local Comcast talk show, Community Forum. And whereas community activities played a major role in his life, Waddell Brooks Sr. served as deacon, Shiloh Baptist Church, trustee at Mount Sinai Institutional Baptist Church, member District 64 School Board of Education, past president North Chicago Rotary Club, past master Rufus Mitchell Lodge number 107, Prince Hall Mason of the Year, Illinois 1988, honorary 33 degree and last degree of Masonry 1988, Board of Directors Lake County Race Unity Task Force, past patron, Emblem Chapter number 140, Order of the Eastern Star, 1980-81 Who's Who Among Black Americans, past president, North Chicago Branch NAACP, president, North Chicago Chamber of Commerce, member, Dads Are Doing Something, Inc., and North Chicago District number 187 School, Dads for Education. And whereas Waddell Brooks Sr. was awarded the 1984 Lake County Urban League Business Person of the Year, 1996 Charles E. de Rivera Memorial Award, Most Influential African American of Lake County, 1999 Omni Society of Life Models Award, the 2002 National Spiritual Assembly of Baha'is, United States of America, David Kellum Award. And whereas Waddell Brooks Sr. left this world, leaving his wife of 64 years, a son, 2 daughters, and 2 grandchildren, along with the community to cherish his memory. And now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Taylor and members of the City Council of Waukegan, Illinois, do hereby honor the life of Waddell Brooks Sr. for his service to our community. Be it further resolved that a suitably embossed copy of this resolution, signed by the mayor and city clerk, be presented to the family of Waddell Brooks Sr. on the 9th day of July 2022 and read into the public record at the Waukegan City Council meeting on August 1st, 2022, dated this first day of August 2022. Mayor?
Anyone hear from the Brooks family this evening? You want to go? Resolution B? I'm sorry. Can I have a motion for item A?
Second.
So Alderman Newsom was it, and second was Alderman Kirkwood. That can just be a voice one, right? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you. Our second resolution is honoring the life of Barbara Monsieur. Resolution 22R121. Whereas Barbara Monsieur moved to Lake Forest, Illinois in 1971, and whereas Barbara Monsieur earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of California, Berkeley, and a Master's of Sociology from the University of Illinois at Chicago. And whereas Barbara Monsieur had an 18-year career at Youth Guidance in Chicago, where she witnessed firsthand how a seemingly small amount of assistance might change a challenging situation for a child. And whereas Barbara Monsieur had a simple idea to connect people in desperate situations with those who want to provide assistance, where it will truly make a difference and create hope where little existed. And whereas Barbara Monsieur founded the Mother's Trust Foundation in 1998 at the age of 75 to provide immediate assistance to children in Lake County to maintain their dignity, to keep their family together, and to make the impossible possible. And whereas Barbara Monsieur and the Mother's Trust Foundation have assisted nearly 40,000 children and their families with $3.8 million in grants during more than 2 decades of service. And whereas Barbara Monsieur left this world peacefully on July 7th, 2022, after a very long and full life of learning and inspiring others. And now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Taylor and members of the City Council of Waukegan, Illinois, do hereby honor the life and legacy of Barbara Monsieur for her dedication and service to Waukegan. Be it further resolved that a suitably embossed copy of this resolution signed by the mayor and city clerk be presented to the family of Barbara Monsieur and read into the public record at the Waukegan City Council meeting on August 1st, 2022, dated this first day of August, 2022. And no one is here. They will be having a service for her this fall. We'll send that on to her family.
can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll motion.
Second.
Rivera and Florian. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item C.
Proclamation. Illinois Municipal Treasurers Week, August 8th through the 12th. Whereas municipal government, to best serve the needs of the citizenry, must be operated with efficiency and in an orderly and trustworthy manner. And whereas all monies received into the municipal treasuries are dedicated funds and are used only for their specific purposes. And whereas historically, the municipal treasurers have been designated as the official custodians responsible for proper management and investment of these funds. And whereas the efficiency and order with which government carries out its public functions is strongly reliant on procedures and accurate financial records. And whereas an organized source of financial knowledge about its government activities is vital to the smooth governing of that municipality. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize a historic municipal office which grew out of the traditions of our democratic heritage. Now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Taylor and members of the City Council of Waukegan, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the week of August 8th through the 12th, 2022, be known as Illinois Municipal Treasurers Week, in recognition of the vital services they perform and the outstanding community dedication they exhibit. Be it further resolved that a suitably embossed copy of this resolution, signed by the mayor and city clerk, be presented to Dr. John R. Schwab at the Waukegan City Council meeting on August 1st, 2022, dated this first day of August, 2022.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'd like Dr. Schwab to come down to the front. And Alderman, if you would like to join me, I'd love that, or at least line up so we can have pictures.
Hey, Susan, come on up. You didn't get there alone.
While we're getting set up with this, I want to thank my wife. 14 years ago, Susan Schwab allowed me to run for office. In the past, she never had that. She wanted any interest. She doesn't run for a park district or school board or anything else. She didn't want me to be involved that way. She relented at that time. I've been here 14 years, and I'm extremely proud that I have a national certification, one of 35 in the state
Next, I would like to make a motion to ratify the appointment of Jack Dye to the Waukegan Port District Board.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I heard two voices. So maybe-
I'm no alderman in that
Alderman
board.
Turner.
I'll make it. Thank you.
Second, Alderman Florian. Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Bolton.
Aye.
Alderman Seager.
Aye.
Alderman Mozio. Alderman Kirkwood. Alderman Newsom. Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Motion
Congratulations, Jack.
Congratulations, sir.
I'm going to have them do pictures in a couple minutes. I'm going to do the second swearing in, and then we'll bring everybody up. I'd like to have a motion to ratify the appointment of Paula Trigg,
I'll make the motion.
Waukegan Port Authority. Who was the second? Alderman Kirkwood.
Who's the first?
Me, Turner.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Bolton.
Aye.
Alderman Seager.
Aye.
Alderman Mozio. Alderman Kirkwood. Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Flora.
Aye.
Motion passed, ma'am.
Congratulations.
I'd like to point out, I think City Clerk Kilkelly pointed this out, that is Paula Trigg the second female?
Second female and overdue.
Long overdue.
We'll start off with Jack's family first.
Oh, where do you want us?
We're going to try to find how to get behind this.
Okay, next, audience time.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes. I'm going to call up 5 at a time. Go ahead and line up on the east side of the room and start when you get up there. Mr. Ken Endres, Mike Urbancic, Jose Guzman, Clyde McLemore, and Felicia Ford. Ken Endres, Mike Urbancic, Jose Guzman, Clyde McLemore, and Felicia Ford.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman. My name is Kenneth Endres. I am the Naval Station Great Lakes Community Liaison Officer representing Captain Jason Williamson. Wanted to bring a couple items to your attention. Great Lakes is now in its bow wave of new recruits after high school graduations. And in the next 12 weeks, they'll be graduating almost 1,000 recruits or more a week. So that will be bringing anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 visitors to our communities from across the world. Besides our 50 states, we have people from Guam, Puerto Rico, Samoan Islands. So we do get quite a variety of people coming into their communities here in Lake County. And it was great to see the resolution of Waddell Brooks. I worked with him at Naval Station Great Lakes at the Public Works Center where he was the deputy EEO. And he was a great gentleman to work with and for when I had the opportunity. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Mike Urbancic.
Mayor, Councilman, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I've been a lifelong resident of the city here for almost 73 years. Most of my life, for the past 50 years, I've owned dogs my entire life. Always enjoyed taking them down to Lake Michigan to swim. Last couple of years, we've been restricted to bringing the dogs down to the lake to swim. I talked to a police officer recently and asked him if there was any possibility of taking dogs down there, and he said, if you bring your dog down here, you're going to get a $500 ticket. I have a pass to go to the county dog parks. I go to Larson Park, but unfortunately, the county dog parks, most of the water in those parks is stagnant. So last time I had my dogs out there, one of them contracted a parasite and got sick. She was sick for 4 days. So there's a concern, I know, by the bird watchers down at the lakefront. They don't want us down there with the dogs. I gave a proposal to Alderman Turner. Most of you have gotten that proposal. I think I've outlined some opportunities to address the concerns that maybe those bird watchers will have and maybe the city would have as far as liability. And I'd really appreciate the opportunity, as I've talked to many dog owners, if we could possibly get a spot down at the lakefront so we could take our dogs down there for the enjoyment of exercise and swimming, because they really enjoy swimming. So anything that you all could do, it would be really appreciated by all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jose Guzman.
Thank you. I'm just here, they just took off really fast. They came and they got appointed, Jack Dye and Paula Trigg. I wanted to say I'm glad to hear that new blood, new change. I'm happy that the appointments are moving forward and that everything's moving along. Very happy about that. What I am disappointed at is the old chairman of the board of the Waukegan Port District. I don't know all the details. I don't know. I just heard a lot of rumors, hearsay, and I've been looking at the papers. Nothing's been going on. I hope this is not swept under the rug, what I hear, and stuff is being done because I think it's wrong. He should have been held to a higher standard, especially as chairman. But I'm very happy that Mayor Taylor stood up and said, you know what? Time to go, and let's get these moving forward to a better future. Very happy. I'm also sad about all the situations that's been happening around us and in the city of Waukegan. Chief Zupek said, sounds like he's trying, and I'm very happy about that. And hopefully we can keep moving forward, get this crime rate down, and let the people of Waukegan sleep a little easier, because we did get some of those warnings at my place and other places that I've gotten phone calls on the whole violence thing. Hopefully we can get that brought down to a minimal. I know we're not going to eliminate it, but let's bring it down some. That would be really, really great. And it sounds like everybody's doing some really good, hard work. So keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guzman. Clyde McLemore.
On July 29th, I wrote a post on social media, and I want to share it with this council. Let's talk about the disgusting event that happened July 4th in Highland Park, Illinois. People were shot. 7 to 8 people died. Multiple people were shot because of the hideous crime of a person filled with such hatred. Over 830 crisis counselors descended on Highland Park to give anybody crisis counseling. That's all good, but black and brown people have been getting killed on a daily basis. Last week, the whole town of Waukegan shut down because they feared gang retaliation. My problem is not one crisis counselor came to the Tri-Cities. When will my people get the picture? On my social media back in April, there was a post about a young black woman missing. Her name was Brianna Hass. Brianna was 22 years old. She worked at Wingstop here in Waukegan and Dollar General in Winter Harbor. She has been missing since February. Brianna had been in an abusive relationship. In January, numerous fights and arguments, all reported by neighbors in the building. Bianca lived at 108 Drew Lane in Waukegan. So when the missing person report went out about Bianca, when you're looking for someone, where do you go? You look at their last known residence. 6 months later, her body is found in an apartment. My point is, if this baby had been white, would it went down like this? Look, let's go back to Martell Williams, 15-year-old that was arrested on attempted murder when he was at Libertyville playing basketball. On the day of his arrest, a Lake Villa police contacted Waukegan police and said who the guy was who is now arrested for the shooting. And again, I am tired of this administration sitting back and allow our do-nothing-ass law enforcers keep doing nothing. Mayor, I am a thorn in your side until this gets corrected. And again, if this job is too much, step your ass down.
Thank you. Ms. Felicia Ford?
Good evening. My name is Felicia Ford. I was a resident at 108 Drew Lane. Towards the end of January, I heard a loud fight in the basement apartment, and then suddenly it went quiet. My neighbors and I kept inquiring the whereabouts of Bianca Haas after the fight. No one seen or heard from her. So I did an anonymous call for a well-being check on the apartment. I saw the officers knock on the door, and they left right back out the building. On the earlier week of February 24th, there was a loud odor in my bathroom and my second bedroom. On February 24th, I texted my landlord stating that there was a very bad smell. I also described the smell as being something that was dead and decaying. The smell eventually went away after a certain amount of time, and then on April 28th, a female detective knocked on my door, identifying herself as an officer from the Missing Persons Division. When I opened my door, she showed me a picture of Bianca Haas. I confirmed that that was her. She asked me, was that the young lady? Have I seen the young lady around the apartment? And I did confirm seeing her around the apartment. I also informed that officer of the loud fight that I heard, not seeing her anymore after then. I then showed her the messages that I sent my landlord about the foul odor. I informed the officer that there was frequent fighting and my concern for Bianca's well-being. I asked the officer if they could possibly check the apartment for her safety. She told me that she would be in touch with me. She took my information. Sad to say that I heard nothing from them again. I continued to text my landlord about the concerns of Bianca's disappearance and the safety of all the residents that lived in the building. Unfortunately, there was no action taken, and Bianca was found in that very same apartment 6 to 7 months later. I now fear for my life. The locks on my building have not been changed. I am scared to stay in my apartment. I have resorted to staying with friends or wherever I can because I feel my safety is in jeopardy. I have suffered a tragic loss already of my son to gun violence, not even 2 months prior to this. And this has really taken an effect on my mental and emotional well-being. To know that I lived in a building where Bianca's body lay rotting, and a man that lived with a body in his apartment for all that time like it was normal, is like very horrifying for me. I'm just asking that this be looked into and something be rectified where maybe police can do a little bit more, because I kept continuously saying that something was wrong and something had happened, and I was describing the smell.
Thank you, Ms. Felicia.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next 5 will be Charles Pitts, Margaret Carrasco, Brother Blanks, Nicole Hernandez, and Steve Ludwig. Charles Pitts, Margaret Carrasco, Brother Blanks, Nicole Hernandez, and Steve Ludwig.
My response to the police chief's comments are the police contract between the city and the police union blocks citizens' accountability of the police. So someone complaining here or putting in a formal complaint, it's basically contingent on if an officer decides to investigate. Second problem is the Civil Service Commission. Its bylaws imply that there's supposed to be some type of monitoring of the police, of which they don't, and they only meet every other month. So basically you have a police fire commission that has no desire to do what the bylaws imply. I'm wondering also, is there any type of plan to deal with the impending water crisis of the ash coal? Is there, if there's an incident, how are the fire departments supposed to respond? How is the water department respond? Or do we just wait and hope nothing happens, or we wait and hide behind the attorneys when the citizens sue? Flint, Michigan, the people, they just burned their houses down and they left town. Hopefully, with these documents that I would like to enter into the minutes, hopefully I can lay to rest the incident that happened in front of City Hall. Starters, I'm flying back and forth between here and San Francisco. Many of my elders and my leaders, they are from and of the LGBT community. If I said something disparaging about the LGBTQ community, I would be held accountable. It just would be bad for me. These issues should have been private, as Brendan Stewart has mentioned. I sent him messages before that to talk about these issues in private. But Brendan Stewart, he refused to respond to several messages asking to at least talk about it. So, you know, I tried to do due diligence and talk to about this. I mean, my communities.
Thank you, Mr. Pitts. Margaret Carrasco.
Good evening. Over the weekend, a very vicious Facebook post circulated. It was totally incorrect and false. It stated that the killer of the decomposed body, the woman recently found in a vacant apartment, was the brother, family member of the secretary of the chief of police. That is false. That is not true. So I just want to put that to rest. I don't know who started it, but anyhow. The next thing is that Waukegan residents really need to thank our beach rangers. These kids work in extreme heat. They keep our Waukegan beach. We have 800 people from other communities, Lake Villa, Lindenhurst, coming to Waukegan Beach because it's in excellent condition. And just something to consider, and I don't know what department, who's the person, we need to ban those inflatables. Every weekend, a child almost gets drowned because parents are busy, and before you know it, the kid is 5 miles out and they can't get him. The next thing is that in light of the criminal allegations involving Alderman Kirkwood, most of them were involving with the liquor license and the gaming. And so therefore, legal counsel, I will be submitting an ethics complaint against the liquor commissioner. Because when you think about it, Kirkwood filled out the application, but Janet approved it. That's my understanding, at least. Okay, and lastly, I'm not sure if people realize, but item number 2, your appointments tonight for the Waukegan Port District. I never, ever thought I would see the day that the most racist white man ever would be removed. And I'm talking about Grant Farrell for the Waukegan Port Authority or District, whatever. Mayor, I want to personally applaud you. And yes, a white female did it. Bravo. Grant Farrell, and let me just, in case people don't know what he's done, okay, July 4th last year, he has a intentional pattern of covering up and concealing misconduct of racism and discrimination and not taking the necessary steps to prevent it. On July 4th, racial slurs were yelled at Latinos and threats of violence after it was reported. Then he charges the Latino $500 additional fine because you reported this incident. And then when the Latino refused to pay it, demanded that he remove his boat from the slip.
Thank you, Ms. Carrasco. Thank you. Brother Blanks?
Police insist that precept stops are useful for investigating drugs and weapons possession, human trafficking, drunken driving, amongst other crimes. But black motorists, especially young men, have long noted how often they get stopped for petty traffic or equipment violations, failure of signals, broken license plates, tinted windows, and things like that. As part of the movement to curb police brutality, there is renewed interest in reducing or eliminating pretext stops, which studies have shown to be racially biased. Police stops and search black motorists more often than drivers of other races, with little effect on crime, studies show. So for every person or however many guns he said that he took off the street, I'm talking about the chief that was up here before, I can name about 20 people who have been stopped who didn't have a gun or drugs. Our problem in our community is the problem that it is racially biased, many of these precept stops. That's a fact. That's not me talking. That's national. So when we are having these so-called traffic stops, how many people you all know across this nation, based on those traffic stops, how many people end up dead? Some of the people I can name that didn't have a weapon or drugs, from a local to a national level. How about Sandra Bland? Huh? How about on a local level? How about Marcella Stinnett? Huh? Forgive us, Chief, if we still have a problem and we are still shaken and we have trauma from the bad history of your police department. I can assure you, just like the young man, when I was here last week, I just posted it. Young man in the community pulled over for no front license plates. This is a pattern that happened here before. Pulled over no front license plates, and I go down to the police department, and we got cars on the lot with no front license plates. You want to enforce the law? Start in your own backyard before you leave the damn police department. Don't come in our community enforcing laws that you are. One thing about it, you cannot be above the law. We want guns off the street. We want violence down like everybody else. Don't get me wrong. But you cannot come into the police, you cannot come in the community and expect them to keep credibility and integrity if you acting above the law.
Thank you. Thank you. Nicole Hernandez?
Okay. So I watched the meetings prior to this on the internet with you guys. So I was there with you in spirit on YouTube. We're talking about integrating protocol. So protocol has to be following the code, and the code has to follow the state law, and the state law has to follow the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So I'll be giving this to Chief Bridges for your review and to be added today, so that way you guys can all read and understand all the articles in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Oh, I forgot about the Constitution. So state law, Constitution, then this. So I was born and raised most of my life here in Waukegan. Just came back a couple years ago. What is Waukegan? What does it mean to be Waukegan strong? It does not mean that we're attacking citizens, that we are finding ways to attack. As I said, I was watching earlier. I don't understand what the problem is for putting the gaming next to the assisted living. You said, well, a lot of people that go to assisted living they don't want to go there, or they end up there. You have to actually sign up to be in assisted living. So if you know of people that are in assisted living against their will, then they're kidnapped or something like that. Maybe we need to be investigating that. You guys just basically, Waukegan should not be suppressing people, oppressing people. We're supposed to be lifting people up. And that's what Waukegan is about. And I don't know how many of you are actually from Waukegan, if you forgot what being Waukegan strong is supposed to be. Having multiple black parties, throwing fits about DJs, like that. Why are we mad that people are celebrating? Why are we mad? We're mad that people are happy. We're mad that people are being lifted up without your advice, without your counsel, without having to come down here and learn politics. We don't need to learn politics from people that are not Waukegan strong as you're supposed to be. So if you're not Waukegan strong and you don't want to do things the right way, the moral way, to help people, then you shouldn't be here. And Mr. Kirkwood, as I said, I stand behind you. I was one of your students. I know you're a good person. I hope that all the charges are dropped. We cannot assume people are guilty of things when you don't know the facts. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Alderman, and a soon-to-be former Alderman. I have lived in the 4th Ward, although the boundaries have changed, over the last 32 and a half years. I presently live in my home for 32 and a half years. Unfortunately, with the federal indictments that have come down against our alderman, I would encourage him to please step down for the people in your ward. I think that's the only way that you can do the proper thing for them. And I'd like to say that I've always been a person that believes in the law, that somebody is innocent until proven guilty, and I will still stand by that. But it's easy to go on the internet and look at the gaming board website and look at the machines, and the applications that you filled out were blatantly wrong. They were lies that you put out there, and they were continued to be lies even after you still were made to say that what you gave was erroneous information. So, as the police officer, Mr. Zupak, came in here and was talking about the reputation of Waukegan, like I said, you're still innocent until proven guilty, but right now you are guilty because you are killing the reputation of Waukegan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The final speaker will be Mr. Rayon Edwards.
Good evening, council, everybody. I first want to say thank Alderman Florian, Alderman Hayes, City Clerk Johnny Kelly, and the City of Waukegan for your contribution for Saturday's book bag giveaway. We was able to take care of about 300 kids in total with the supplies that they need to start school on August the 11th. I also want to give a big shout out to the Chief of Police and the Chief of Fire for what they done for the kids for Saturday. I want to, full disclosure, say to everybody up here on this council, you guys are not police officers. Stop saying to the community, if you see something, say something. I don't think you realize what you're asking. When the police make an arrest, there is not a guarantee of conviction. People are scared. When you are asking people to get up and say something, and they say something, and it goes over there to that courthouse, their names are put in paper. Their addresses are put there. It is called a discovery, just in case anybody wants to know. And so you guys can't protect those people that you are asking to speak or step up. I get it. I totally understand. But we got to find a better way to do that. But because publicly doing that, you're not doing nothing but pushing them further away. And I hope you guys listen. I also want to say every job has a title and it has a responsibility. I think what's so screwed up is when we have people trying to do other folks' job. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm going to say to you today, Chief of Staff of Waukegan, stop trying to do police job. If I call the chief and ask the chief about anything and I'm communicating with him, that's between me and the chief. Don't call somebody else that I'm working with to try to figure something out, sir. You know my number. Some of the things that he's doing is very unprofessional. And we can act like we got blinders on and we can act like we don't see. It's the same things that Sam was doing, y'all. And we're not talking about it, but we're going to start talking about it. And so the law says innocent until proven guilty. And Mayor, I'm disgusted with you because Wednesday, we had so many shootings in our community. Come Thursday, I didn't hear a peep from nobody, none of my leaders. But I do a live on Facebook that everybody just so happily watch, but they don't watch me. But Thursday, we made sure we got up and spoke about Alderman Kirkwood like what we did tonight. Very strategic because we don't have a lot of followers on Facebook. So this was the way to get everybody to hear it and see it. Oh, y'all, I'm so tired of y'all playing politics with the lives of these people.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Thank you.
Please stop.
Thank you. Mayor, that concludes audience time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Under the consent agenda, because everything has been heard under new business, I'd like to have a motion that we could move it all up to the consent agenda.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second it.
So Alderman Mozio and Alderman Kirkwood. Okay. First off, item A.
So the motion to move items A through L on new business has been moved and seconded. That's a motion to amend the agenda. That can be done with a voice vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Starting with under the consent, can I have a motion to hear the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay,
I'll second.
Alderman Wozio and Alderman Rivera. Any questions to any of the motions? Anything you want pulled out? No? Okay. I'm going to take this off for a minute. Item A, motion to approve vendor payments dated August 1st, 2022 in the amount of $4,043,215.82. Item B, motion to approve miscellaneous payroll final payouts dated July 15th, 2022 in a total amount of $221.67. Item C, motion to approve the regular payroll dated July 29th, 2022 in a total amount of $1,654,979.26. Item D, a motion to approve miscellaneous payroll, paid holiday payback, and comp time cash out promotion retros dated July 29th, 2022 in a total amount of $22,182.34. Item A, motion to adopt an ordinance amending Section 14-1101 of the Code of Ordinances to eliminate the special event permit fee for block parties. This matter was presented to the Community Development Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item B, motion to approve an ordinance amending Chapter 21 of the Code, or of the City Code regarding parking on driveway aprons. This matter was presented to the Community Development Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item C, motion to approve an ordinance amending Chapter 6 of the Code of Ordinances regarding regulation of condominium deconversions. This matter was presented in the City or in Community Development Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item D, a motion authorizing the proper city officials to approve a settlement agreement between the City of Waukegan and the Metropolitan Alliance of Police Chapter 771 to resolve all pending grievances, litigation, demands to bargain for Jonathan Oliver. This matter was presented to the Government Oversight and Operations Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item E, motion authorizing the proper city officials to approve a settlement agreement between the City of Waukegan and the Metropolitan Alliance of Police Chapter 771 to resolve all pending grievances, litigation, and demands to bargain for Urban Grimes. This matter was presented to the Government Oversight and Operations Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item F, motion authorizing the proper city officials to approve a settlement agreement between the City of Waukegan and Metropolitan Alliance of the Police Chapter 771 to resolve all pending grievances, litigation, demands to bargain for James Leonard. This matter was presented to the Government Oversight and Operations Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item G, motion authorizing the proper city officials to approve a settlement agreement between the City of Waukegan and Metropolitan Alliance of Police Chapter 771 to resolve all pending grievances, litigations, and demands to bargain with Timothy Buckingham. This matter was presented to the Government Oversight and Operations Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item H, a resolution authorizing the proper city officials to approve a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Waukegan and the Metropolitan Alliance of Police Chapter 771. This matter was presented to the Government Oversight and Operations Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item I, motion authorizing the proper city officials to settle Fire Department Workmen's Compensation Claim 210-614-W020 for a total amount not to exceed $37,484.39. This matter was presented to the Government Oversight and Operations Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item J, a motion authorizing the proper city officials to settle Police Department Workmen's Compensation Claim number 210-713-W002 for a total amount not to exceed $60,000. This matter was presented to the Government Oversight and Operations Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item K, a motion to approve and authorize the Director of Risk Management to execute a change order with Insurance Program Management Group, known as IPMG, in the amount of $16,760 above the original contract price of $76,640 for additional and unanticipated costs incurred between 2019 and 2022. This matter was presented to the Government Oversight and Operations Committee on August 1st, 2022. Item L, motion to approve the procedure of the Police Department policy, products, and services from Lexipol in the amount of $86,000 pursuant to the sole source purchasing exception 2-458-I-1. This matter was presented to the Government Oversight and Operations Committee on August 1st, 2022. Okay, I need a breathing break. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Bolton. Aye. Alderman Seager.
Aye.
Alderman Mozio.
Aye.
Alderman Kirkwood. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Motion passed, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. There being no ordinances, Alderman time.
Alderman Hayes.
Pass.
Alderman Bolton.
Yes, I'd just like to take the time to thank our audience for your feedback and your input. And secondly, I'd like to send my condolences to those who have lost their loved ones. And then too, I want to thank those in the First Ward who have put on different events to bring our community together, such as Jesus Name Church and their JIC community. And then also want to thank the AME Church, who has given out 2 scholarships to our previous graduates. Then I want to say thank you to our departments for all your hard work. And I can call you anytime on any issue, and you have definitely stepped up to the game. Thank you.
Alderman
That's
Seager.
it. Thank you.
Alderman Seager.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming on down. Second, I'd like to thank Public Works, Police Department, Fire Department. With the amount of rain that we had last week, I got drowned. I don't know about anybody else, but I was bailing water for 2 days. Everybody within City Hall, all the different departments, thank you very much for all your fine, hard work. And God bless you. Good night. Thank you.
Alderman Mozio.
Yeah, I would like to comment quickly on dogs at the beach. Anybody that knows me knows I like dogs more than I like people. I'd rather be with them most of the time. It's a little strange for a teacher, but it is what it is. I wish there was some way that we could work it out. I mean, people know I go down there quite a bit. I've talked to Lisa May about this. I was hoping maybe we could do something on the north end of the beach, some restricted hours, maybe, in the morning till like noon. I mean, during the weekday, it's not that crowded. Obviously, the weekends are very crowded, but the weekdays are not that crowded. I don't know if there's any way we can work this out. Obviously, it gets ruined when somebody that has a dog that can't behave, or they don't know how to handle a dog, and that's a problem. But I mean, I don't know how it's like anything else in society. If that happens, then you have to fine them, or there's repercussions for that. So that's just my thoughts on it. I hope we could do something like that going forward. I don't know. I mean, looking at legalities and the liabilities and all that other stuff. But I would just appreciate that if we could look into it and maybe make it happen. I don't know. That's my thoughts. Thanks.
Alderman Kirkwood.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First of all, I'd like to thank the Public Works Department for their swift action when we had the storm with cleaning up the brush as well as the fallen trees in the Fourth Ward and throughout the city. Also, a reminder to all those individuals that are looking at doing block parties, you need to make sure it's 30 days in advance so that we can make sure it goes through the process. Also, in regards to the dogs on the beach, I think we should also look into the possibility of using part of that beach area that we can do that. So I will talk with some of the individuals that are looking at doing that, maybe as Alderman Mozio stated, that maybe there's some time restrictions that we can look at that situation. Once again, I thank everyone for coming out tonight, giving their opinions. Let's continue to work together. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Alderman Newsome.
Yes.
Alderman Turner.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Excuse me. I want to congratulate Paula Trigg and Jack Dye on being on their appointments to the Waukegan Port District. Another, again, two of my neighbors in the 6th Ward stepping up to serve our community, and they are going to be excellent board members. I know both of them, and I know that they're well qualified to serve in those positions, so happy to see that they are appointed. Mr. Urbansik's idea about the dog park down on the lakefront, I think is an excellent idea, and I think we should look at it. I would like to see that in the 6th Ward. So there are 3 wards that, 4 wards that have presence on it, that include the lakefront. That would be wards 1, 4, 6, and 7. At the north end of the beach on Seahorse Drive, where it heads east and goes into the beach, you enter into the lakefront area. That's the boundary between Ward 4 and Ward 6. I'd like to see it up on the north, up in my area. So seriously, maybe Alderman Kirkwood, maybe Alderman Moiseo, if he has obviously expressed an interest, I'd like, maybe we can go down there with Mr. Urbansik, take a look, and just start kind of visualizing and formulating a what-if kind of scenario. What if it happened? How it might look like. So I don't want that to fall through the cracks. I think it's an exceptional idea, and I appreciate your bringing it to my attention, and let's move on that. Excuse me. Yeah, I want to recognize again Youth Conservation Corps and Public Works Department. We had another cleanup in the 6th Ward last week, last Friday, and we cleaned up the area of Lorraine and Longview. There's a weird wind patterns, and I mean, there was a significant amount of trash, and this is, I think, the 2nd or 3rd time we cleaned that up, but I mean, it really gets bad over there. So those ladies and gentlemen from the Youth Conservation Corps teamed up with our guys from Public Works. They did a fantastic job in that specific area, as well as along Elmwood down to Buck Avenue, and I thank you. Speaking of cleanup and the big rains, so every time we have a big rain, we have a number of intersections that flood in the 6th Ward, and that's because 2 reasons. One, people put their grass clippings and leaves in the wintertime, but they put those grass clippings in the street. They wash down into the storm sewer. Over time, they compact, and they just, you know, that and trash blocks the storm sewer. Water cannot flow through. And then, again, we do have some deteriorating streets where the pavement is actually becoming loose gravel, and that kind of washes through. My point is that those storm sewer drains along the curb line, particularly at the corners, need to be cleaned. And I'm just asking our neighbors in the 6th Ward to do a little more, do a little extra when you're out cutting your grass or cleaning up. Reach down, get a rake, and kind of free up some of that crud that's accumulating in the storm drains or storm sewers. And that will go a long way to alleviating the flood. And I was out there cleaning them up again by hand, and now I need a pedicure or a manicure. 6th Ward Ice Cream Social is going to be on August 27th at 1320 North Jackson Street. Tentatively from 2 to 4. My wife and I still haven't firmed up, but we'll just say it'll be that afternoon, and that is a Saturday afternoon. And then finally, you know, we had that, there was a mass shooting in Highland Park, and everybody was bending over backwards to talk about thoughts and prayers, and let's have a rally, and the poor folks that got shot and all that. And I certainly recognize the tragedy of that event, but I also want to recognize that we had a mass shooting. We had 2 people shot in North Chicago. Shortly thereafter, we had 6 people shot, or three people shot in Waukegan, right? So that's a mass shooting because there were connected incidents, and 4 people was a mass shooting, right? If it's the same or connected incidents, but there was no thoughts and prayers. There was no ballyhooing about how terrible it is, how you know, the shootings in Waukegan. Not only that, but we have a number, consistently, we have all these shots fired. The chief just stood here and told you they seized 168 firearms in between January 1st and July 26th. It was 168 firearms, illegal firearms seized. We had 413 shots fired calls. Nobody's crying about that. Nobody even comments about it. We have people dying here in Waukegan and in North Chicago. Oh, we need a assault weapons ban. But they have that in Highland Park and North Chicago since 2013. So I don't hear any more about no stupid gun control. We need criminal control. And I apologize for getting, I get passionate about this stuff. And I get passionate about the hypocrisy. You got people come all over the country. You got the congressman, the state rep, the state senator. Every politician is crying about what happened in Highland Park and not a peep about what happened in North Chicago and Waukegan. Quit the hypocrisy. If you're going to cry about it, cry about the whole thing. Thank you.
Alderman Rivera.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First of all, I want to thank all the Waukegan citizens who participated in audience time. Your input is very valuable. Also, condolences to all the families who have lost a loved one. Beach, the topic about the beach, first of all, I want to say they're doing a great job, as was indicated during audience time regarding the beach rangers. They're very active out there, and they're very, they have good social skills. They're very people-friendly. People like to interact with them. It's a win-win for everyone down there. I think everyone has a great time down to the actual rangers who are driving around. So kudos to them and to the process. And in speaking with the having dogs down at the beach, that would be a lovely thing. I think the biggest barrier would be the Audubon Society. So I would suggest that before going in any direction to check with that organization first, because again, the dunes and the birds are protected. I wanted to congratulate Paula Trigg and Jack Dye for their appointments, and that's all I had. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Alderman Florian.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I join my fellow aldermen in congratulating Jack Dye and Paula Trigg. I think that they're both going to be amazing additions to the Port Authority Board. I think it was something that was definitely necessary, and I look forward to seeing great things from that group going forward. I'd also like to congratulate Mr. Edwards. I know he left already, but he did a great job organizing his event on Saturday. I was there for about an hour, and the kids were having a great time, and he had tons of school supplies laid out for everybody. They were feeding everybody. They had a bunch of bouncy houses outside, which I understand was due to our police chief and fire chief, so thank you for supporting that event. There was a lot of great energy there, and it was very well done. Another thing I participated in recently was the Waukegan Parks Foundation golf outing on July 20th at Bonnybrook, and that's the Parks Foundation supports the Park District, and it's our biggest fundraiser of the year, and I wanted to thank the city for supporting that event. Alderman Rivera was there, as well as Alderman Moisio, and of course none of us won because Treasurer Schwab's family, of course, wins every golf outing that the city holds. So you go knowing you will not win, but you will have a good time. So. Yeah, it was a great time. It was a beautiful day, and I was glad I was able to participate in that. Another event last week was the Minority Contractors kickoff. Well, not kickoff really. They got a facility on 700 Lewis, and they had a nice event announcing their new office space, and it was very well attended, and I think that that is going to be a great thing for them to have an actual facility to operate out of going forward. I want to comment a little bit on the dog park, Mr. Banzik. Hello, I haven't seen you in a long time. I love dogs, and my dog loved to swim. I was lucky. My sister had a pool that she let my dog swim in, so that was great. But I think this could be something that may be able to work. I have a couple of concerns. I reached out to Lisa May, our lakefront coordinator,
And one of the concerns is the amount of litter we already have at the beach indicates Waukegan citizens and our visitors are not the greatest at cleaning up. So my concern would be we bring dogs down there, now we got a whole nother problem to deal with. So that's something that would have to be addressed. I think we may be able to address the issue with the Audubon Society by fencing in the area possibly, kind of like what the county does with their dog parks. And I know you said in your proposal about having permits and that kind of stuff. So I think it's something worth looking into, but we're going to have to be very careful because we do have a birding community that is very passionate, we'll say, about our lakefront. So, but it's something I think we should consider. I'm sorry the young woman left that was complaining about my concern about block parties and the assisted living, but I'll say this in case she watches this. The loud music at a block party, I mean, I'm sorry, I want everyone to have block parties and get together, but when you have music that's loud enough it rattles people's walls, that's not community. You know, if all of us did that, this community would be unlivable. That's not Waukegan strong or whatever she was saying. That's unacceptable. People can't live that way. Yes, celebrate, have a good time, have a party, have a block party, invite your neighbors, all of that. But don't do it in such a way that it impinges on someone else's right to enjoy their own home. People work at night and have to sleep during the day or want to sleep at 10 o'clock at night or whatever the situation is, and you can't impinge on. We have a noise ordinance, I'm sorry, that's just how it is. I know some people up here feel we should not regulate anything. I'm not one of them. I think we need regulations in order to make our community livable. And as far as what Alderman Hayes referenced with the assisted living, I had an aunt, well, it's my husband's aunt really, we were taking care of. She had had a stroke and she had dementia. She didn't want to go into assisted living. That wasn't her choice, but it was the only option for her. So there are people that end up in assisted living against their will, if you will, but they're not kidnapped. They need care that the families can't provide. It's just a fact of life. I mean, none of us want to go there. We don't want to end up in a nursing home or an assisted living, but sometimes there's no other options, and people don't go there by choice often. And I just, again, I'll say, I feel it's incompatible to have slot machines on the same property as an assisted living, but that's my personal opinion. Lastly, I just want to talk a little bit, this gun violence has come up repeatedly, and it should. It's something we all need to talk about. There's an article, you can look it up online from Time magazine. It says, there is a proven way to reduce gun violence in America's cities. We just need to fund it. I have to take my mask off because I'm not going to be able to see them through my glasses here. So the program they're talking about is Community Violence Intervention Program, CVI. Now, luckily, we in Lake County have been awarded money for violence interrupters, which is based on this kind of idea. There are community violence programs in the country operating already. They know the impact of these programs because they see it every day. There's one in Chicago called REDI, R-E-D-I, and Oakland Ceasefire. And what they do is they identify men, because it's mostly men, sorry, who are most likely to die from gun violence and connect them to a network of resources, including trauma-informed counseling, support services, and job training. So those are the things, I won't read this whole article because it's late and everybody wants to go home, but those of you that are interested in this, please look this article up. It's only a couple pages long, but it really, it explains why people end up in situations of gun violence and what we can do to prevent it. So I hope that we will continue working with the state's attorney's office, Chief Zupek, on this violence interrupters program, and that we'll all support it, and hopefully it'll be one thing that can change our community going forward. So thank you very much.
Mayor, that concludes the alderman's time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Alderman Kirkwood, second Alderman Seeger. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everyone.